Lifeblood of our community with the launch of the KBLA SMB Marketplace. For the first time, small to medium-sized businesses will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom and pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a Black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your shadow with me? Time to get
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss it. There's something wrong with that.
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Dr. Ramani describes narcissism as the second-hand smoke of mental health. But why? And why is narcissism more dangerous than just being self-confident? What exactly narcissistic personality disorder is?
Yeah.
What is it?
Okay, all people with narcissistic personality disorder are obviously narcissistic, okay? Not all people who are narcissistic may have narcissistic personality disorder. So it's a fine point, but it's an important point since everybody's throwing this word around these days, right? You know, it's not, unlike other diagnoses that have different meaning to them. This one's this is like a character assassination, right? So when we talk about narcissistic personality disorder, there's a long list of patterns, and they have to have 5 of the 9 on that list.
Yes.
It has to be something we call pervasive, meaning it cuts across situations with a variety of people, at work, at home. It's not just like they're narcissistic to only you and they're nice to everyone in the world. It tends to be pervasive. But here's the rub. It has to involve what we call social and occupational impairment and subjective distress. That's a fancy way of saying it is messing up that person's life. They're aware it's messing up their life, and they're uncomfortable with it. And that's where you don't see as many people with narcissistic personality disorder. So if their style of not having empathy, of being entitled, of being grandiose, of being arrogant and superficial, and all that is working out for them, they're not going to walk around saying, I'm having a problem. They're not going to walk around saying, this is causing me problems. So if they don't acknowledge that piece of it, then really they're a narcissist, which is sort of a clinical term for being a jerk. And we don't get to diagnose people for being a jerk. We may not like them, but that's not a condition we diagnose. We diagnose people because they're bringing in something that they're uncomfortable with or that's causing them problems. The best example I can give you is, let's say somebody's been using drugs for 2 years.
So if it messes with your job, and you can't think clearly, and then you come in and say, I got a problem. Do you see? Do you see how very easily this can spill over? If you shift the criteria for it, it could spill over into a lot of people. How many times have you seen somebody be horrible to their friends and family? Be horrible to their significant other? But then be the darling of people at work, at their job. They sweet as, you understand? Sweet as sweet potato pie. Oh, hey, how are you? Is everybody okay? Are you okay? Like, show empathy, do all that. And you be like, what? Who is that? Listen, trust me, just because it has been defined, just because it's in the psychological Bible, the DSM-5, doesn't mean it's in the spiritual Bible. And that's what the voice of reason is here to do. I'm here to create this nexus between the metaphysical, the philosophical, the spiritual, as well as the clinical. Right? Mirrored toxicity, trauma soulmates or cellmates, the Tao of dysfunctional compatibility. And don't act like we haven't heard men and women say that they are attracted to certain toxic traits. Hip hop is covered in it. Attracted to certain toxic traits. Who you think the bad boy is? Huh? For many women, who do you think the bad boy is? And the delusion in their mind is, I get the bad boy and I'll be able to direct him. He won't be bad to me. Huh? What about the woman with the mouth? Oh, I like a woman with a smart mouth. I like a woman with a little attitude. Really? Let's just keep it a buck. We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. Theo, get up in here, brother. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Man, you got me over here crying with the with the analogy that you gave as far as seeing somebody in real time being them, but you know it's an act, it's an affront. It's like, wait a minute, that's not how you really are. You're only doing that because your customers are here. I get that. I get it. You know what I mean? So you have to have some level of professionalism in the real world. But show people who you genuinely really are at some point too. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like people can feel that vibration that person hiding something. Mm-hmm. They are hiding something. They keeping it under wraps because when you always come around, you always got a smile on. You got something to hide. And there's no need for that. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, the reality of the world that we live in right now is dysfunctional. Mm-hmm. Everybody is, like you say, there's no measure of good health to be fully integrated in society. So stop acting like you're so, I use the word perfectionist. There's no need to do that. Be who you are. And everything else should follow from that point.
So talk to us, Theo. How easy is it for you to be who you are?
Daily.
No,
whether
I said
people,
not how
like
often.
Not,
I didn't say how often. I said how easy is it for you to be who you are?
How easy is it for me to be who I am?
Yes.
As a person?
The real you.
Listen, that part comes with a smile, though.
But how easy is it? Is it a difficult task? Has it gotten easier over time? How easy is it to be the real you?
I guess it's gotten easy over time because I can, when people open their mouth, I already know what to expect. If I say to a person, "Oh, my day is going good," if you don't ask more in depth, I know you don't really care. So why am I going to go into further details about my day when I know you really don't care?
You like to play.
And I know you know what I mean, though.
Theo, you like to play.
You know exactly what I mean.
You
though.
like to play.
I'm
asking you a question to open the door to go right in, and you want to scrape around the edges. I'm gonna ask you again. How easy is it to be the real you?
I believe it's easy.
Right? And you've been doing work, so I wouldn't argue and say that it isn't easy, right, for you.
Right.
Right? I don't know how many years you've been in the trenches of this internal war that requires you to heal yourself. All I can go on is some of the things that you have said on the air. Now, I don't
So
want.
let me give you an indication, though. Let me give you an
Yes, please give it. Yes, come on.
Okay, 14 years ago, on this, not on this particular platform, but a brother named Zoe came over and said something to me, and internally, not directly to me, but something kicked in me that said he's right. I had to mirror that situation at that very moment and look at myself and say, dang, Theo, have we been being accountable? Or have we been placing blame on everybody else that came into my life? At that point, I had to face that reality and eat those words. I had to eat that. It wasn't easy being accountable.
Okay, I like that. So let me ask you, how do your unhealed wounds, because I know you still got some, how do those wounds contribute to the problems, the conflict, and potentially the eventual downfall of relationships you've been in?
How do they contribute?
Yeah, those unhealed wounds.
First, by recognizing there's a part of me that is still unhealed. The inner child. I'm still working with that. I'm still working with letting the inner child know that I got him.
Okay, so you're not really answering the question. I said, how do they break the relationship down? Those unhealed wounds. Not how do you recognize them. I said, how do they contribute to the eventual downfall of your intimate interactions? How? So can you identify a wound that has shown up in your relationship time and time again? Is a particularly persistent wound? Is it an attachment wound? Is it I'm anxious, preoccupied, so I'm too clingy? Yeah. I'm a chaser. Like, what type of wound is it? Is it a worthiness wound? Is it a mother wound? Like, what kind of wound is it that has consistently contributed to the downfall of your relationship?
I guess it would be codependent, preoccupied, codependent.
Anxious, preoccupied. Got it. Codependent, self-love deficient. What in the hell have you done to win that battle internally?
Other than spend time with myself in dark spaces, that's about it.
Just spend time with yourself in dark spaces.
Yep.
Do you know how to empathize with your wound?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Well, why wasn't that the damn answer? Instead of sitting somewhere in the dark by yourself, how come you didn't say?
No, because that's my personal space. That's my time where I get to, my brain gets to calm down. And then I talk to myself internally and figure out like where I might have went wrong in the situation of the relationship.
But there is no going wrong in the situation. That's just another evaluation that makes you feel either good or bad. Typically, when people say, oh, I went wrong here, they feel bad about making the mistake. It's not about good or bad. There are no accidents, right? There is no examination. All you could do is see what was done, pick up the pieces, and say to yourself, are there other choices? What would be the result if I made another choice, a different choice?
I think that's the escapism, though. Even though I'm causing my own suffering in some space.
In most spaces. Let me tell you something. Your attachment wound is like 7-Eleven. It's open 24 hours. 365, okay? So there is no in some spaces. This is part of the intellectual construct you've put together to feel good about saying, oh, well, they did this. That's what victimhood does. It's like psychological candy. It's like, well, I'm the victim in this case. I get a gold star. No, sir. No. There's no gold star for the victimhood or self-victimization or victimhood mindset. Okay? There's no gold star for that. And you can tell that you've been conditioned to shift the blame. I can hear it in the way you frame your responses. You know, in some cases when my wound is out of control, your wound is out of control all the time. Wounds don't have vacations.
Right, okay. So which is more impactful, impact or intention?
Listen, unhealed people will say impact. Do you understand? Hurt is ubiquitous. The higher you go, the more subtle the hurt will be. Do you see? The higher you rise in consciousness, the more subtle the hurt becomes. So the lower you are in consciousness, impact is the only thing that matters. When you rise in consciousness, listen, when you rise in consciousness, context matters more. Oh, yes, this hurt. The bottom line of this impact hurt. However, I understand the underlying circumstances that brought this perfect storm together. This makes sense. And oftentimes, when you're of a higher consciousness level, not saying that I am, but when you're of a higher consciousness level, you know what happens? The knowledge of what happened and how it happened satiates the pain of what happened. For many people, they live in a pain that you can't imagine because they don't know what happened. That's why closure is such a big deal. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you follow?
Yeah, Oh, believe me, I do.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Don't call in here acting like you got it together. You know I'm going to stay on
Oh,
top.
no, listen. I've been watching for a long time.
Every time you call in here like, yeah, man, I got it. I got the Oscar for being healed. No, you didn't. That was rehearsal, Oscar. That was Oscar rehearsals. That wasn't the real Oscar. You still got work to do.
Plenty.
Wounds are not forever.
I appreciate it, Ozo.
All right, brother. I appreciate you coming in here, man. I love talking to you, man. When I come forward, man. Who else want to come in here? I got somebody else on the line. We gonna talk. Because I know our wounds are attracted to each other. That's why we find each other irresistible. When we come forward, we're going to talk more about it.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.org. knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on autopsy, then click on request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the cross becomes so heavy.
I want to share some with y'all. All truth. Like I'm standing inside a tabernacle. I promise not to lie in not one of these verses. I started out as a battle rapper. All I knew was max sales, ADATs, DATs, and GATs. My name is Ryan Daniel Montgomery, recovering alcoholic. I grew up on 9 Mile. I'm not a gangster, drug dealer, or thug. Just an MC who made a name with his rhyme style. Now, sometime around 95, I found my calling, and that all coincides with the time that I found my darling. Now later on in the story, I'll tell you her significance, but now let's talk about me specifically. 3 brothers and 1 sister. See, my daddy taught me consistency with his patterns. Hallelujah, I'm the son of an addict. My addiction was music. All I would do was go to the studio in the shelter and listen to Redman and Helter Skelter. Hey, y'all remember that one joint from the Helter Skelter album called Sean Price? Be like, I'm not sure any. Yeah, that was my ice bump.
So to the question, can a pathological narcissist overcome their disorder? Statistically, absolutely not. In my book, I refer to 3 personality disorders: borderline, narcissistic, and antisocial personality disorder. So when I talk about narcissism, I'm talking about pathological narcissism. A person with a personality disorder is unable or barely able to understand their own problem and how it affects others. They are blinded. They are incapacitated by that. They blame others. They project their problems onto others. So if you understand the personality disorder, you understand that psychotherapy requires insight. It requires a willingness, a motivation. Therapy is virtually impossible because they just cannot see the impact of their actions on others, especially when it is negative.
That's Ross Rosenberg talking about the narcissist. But you're not narcissistic. Let's just go with, the common ethos out there, right? Narcissism is very few, far and wide in between. We are not narcissists, but I believe most of us suffer from narcissistic tendencies, and I believe most of us are afraid to look at ourselves deeply and take responsibility for who we are and how we show up in relationships and how what is unhealed in us corrodes and distorts and contaminates our relationships, and then we turn around and blame somebody else. So maybe we're not narcissistic, right? Maybe we're not suffering from NPD, but I believe all of us are riddled with narcissistic tendencies. And when you lie to yourself, is that not self-gaslighting? When you tell yourself you didn't do something that you actually did to yourself, is that not a form of self-gaslighting? And if you harm yourself in that way, are you not a magnet for somebody to come in and harm you more? Harm you in the same way you harm yourself? I'm just asking. Pema Chodron, the most fundamental aggression to ourselves, the most fundamental harm we can do to ourselves is to remain ignorant by not having the courage and the respect to look at ourselves honestly and gently. We fear what we may see, right? Within ourselves, the devil in ourselves, the demon in ourselves. We always want to act high and mighty, like when we walk in the room, our goodness, our light, our blessed countenance, our blessed countenance irritates the demons of others. No! Our demons are on the inside, burning and bubbling and bursting when we come in contact with those that will not capitulate to our inner demons. Patrick Carnes, the addict, must learn to live in the present, not in the past or the future. Deepak Chopra, in the midst of movement and chaos, keep stillness inside of you. No, but the wounds are moving, the wounds are shifting, the wounds are anxious, the wounds are anxious, preoccupied. The wounds want to dictate and control everything. Whether you see yourself as a victim or the victor, right? Robert Anton Wilson, you are precisely as big as what you love and precisely as small as what you allow to annoy you. Babette Rothschild, the body remembers what the mind tries to forget. Do you understand what's happening? You're going to date what you haven't healed. You're going to marry what you haven't healed. Typically in relationship, the external performs like your, listen to what I'm about to say, performs like your ideal of what you think a person is supposed to be. But the ideal is usually concealing the real. So I'm going to perform in the way you want me to act, but really I am the irritant you've been trying to avoid. When I come forward, we're going to go back to the phone lines because people want to talk. Let's get it.
People in my life and the way he started blessing me. I guess before my inner demons got the best of me, like sneezing was my vice. Needless to say that December 29th was the day I became a believer in fate. Okay, now it's December 28th. My day is going great. Keno booked me a show under contract to do that night. I got a call from my girl's people saying she in labor in the hospital right now.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The exonerated Central Park 5 is suing former President Trump for defamation. The group's attorney, Shane Inspector, says the lawsuit was filed in response to comments made by the former president during last month's presidential debate. Flesh-eating bacteria cases are on the rise in Florida following recent hurricanes. Health officials say the potentially life-threatening bacteria is commonly found in warm coastal waters and becomes more of a threat after heavy rainfall and flooding. After going through a major overhaul, LaGuardia Airport in New York is being rated the best airport in the United States by Forbes Travel Guide. That's a far cry from about 10 years ago when the airport was rated the worst in the country. And President Biden is honoring recipients of the National Medal of Arts and Humanities, including Missy Elliott, Queen Latifah, Spike Lee, and more. Speaking at a White House ceremony, the president said the recipients have broken barriers and redefined culture and are masters of their craft who have made America better. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Hey Amazon Prime members, why pay more for groceries? Shop Prime exclusive deals at your local Amazon Fresh grocery store and get 50% off Kellogg's cereal. Get deals on thousands of grocery items and save up to 50% on weekly favorites. Find an Amazon Fresh store near you. Select varieties.
I need your dollar, that's what I need.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates small businesses, the enduring lifeblood of our community, with the launch of the KBLA SMB Marketplace. For the first time, small to medium-sized businesses will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom and pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a Black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your shadow with me? Time to get
If we're the ones disproportionately impacted by these climate catastrophes,
why should we be silent?
Turning up the volume all year long on the climate conversation for KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LAC-JCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This truck season, think about all the things you can do in a Chevy truck. You can even just with impressive towing, incredible bed and tailgate functionality, and multiple powertrains. Chevy Silverado, the first ever Silverado EV, Colorado and Tahoe have what you need to get things done. When you want to do it all, Chevy's got you. It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet, together let's drive. 0% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $27.78 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 9.3%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/24.
Before running for state senate, Laura Richardson was named one of the most corrupt members of Congress, guilty on 7 counts of ripping off taxpayers and a pattern of deception trying to cover it up. Richardson is too shady for state senate. For your state senator, frontline nurses, classroom teachers, and Planned Parenthood Advocacy Project, support Democrat Michelle Chambers, a champion for abortion rights, higher wages for workers, and more affordable health care. Democrat Michelle Chambers for state senate.
Ad paid for by nurses and educators supporting Chambers for Senate 2024, sponsored by labor and nonprofit environmental and health organizations, Ad Committee's top funders, SEIU California State Council, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. with more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Take on today's topic, witches. It's a question we've gotten over and over again, and I have to tell you, this is one of those questions that kind of kept me up at night a little bit as I was thinking about it, and then I'd spent some time researching this one. So here's the question. You ready? Can a narcissist be a codependent? So what do you think? Do you think, or have you had the experience? Can a narcissist be a codependent? Drop your answer in the comments below. It'd be interesting to see what people think of this. My answer to this question? It's complicated. So I want to just make sure we're clear on terms here first. Let's start with the topic of codependency. Let's start with the concept of codependency. Codependency is not a diagnostic term that appears in any official diagnostic manual or lexicon. It's a term that is defined by a person who has their self-esteem invested in the emotional state of another person, even when it is not healthy for themselves. And they take responsibility for another person's needs to the exclusion of their own. Basically, when that other person's happy, the codependent person's happy. When the other person's unhappy, the codependent person's unhappy. People who are codependent will often get stuck in relationships with people who have substance use disorders, people with personality disorders, people who are very impulsive, or people who also have sort of codependent patterns themselves. The patterns we observe in codependency include things like sadness, rumination, anxiety, being constantly sort of on edge, denial, emotional dysregulation, or an incredible constriction of emotion, substance use, and remaining in a codependent relationship for a long time without seeking help. There is controversy about this term codependency. Some people have the concern that this term pathologizes patterns that are sometimes gendered, and the society actually values them as a function of gender, and then we pathologize them, or these are patterns that are culturally validated. And many of these patterns are also congruent with something that was once called dependent personality in the DSM, but that's sort of something that has been pretty much scrapped. Now, I know some of you are thinking, the patterns we see...
Listen, I love Dr. Romney. Y'all know that. But what do you get in my wound for Valentine's Day? I'm sorry. Did we forget? We are in a relationship with these damn wounds, and these wounds have desires. The only way to heal is to be able to observe yourself without judgment. The only way to be able to heal is to be able to observe yourself without judgment, looking at yourself without condemnation, without guilt, without shame, accepting yourself as you are. Right? Deleting the negative definitions that were given to you by dysfunctional caregivers. Queen Afua says, when you are in alignment with who your true self is, everything else you desire flows to you effortlessly. Dr. Ramani says, narcissism is not just a personality trait, it's a way of perceiving the world. Ramana Maharishi says, your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render the world. Eesh. Eesh. To be beautiful means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. Codependents, right? You need to accept yourself. Thich Nhat Hanh. Dr. David R. Hawkins. What you are is what you have been. What you will be is what you do now. Krishnamurti. Freedom from the desire for an answer is essential to the understanding of a problem. Whew. Sheesh. We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. People want to talk about it. Let's get them. Let's get them. Let's get them. Let's get them. Who's been on the longest? I think it was Kenny from Detroit. Kenny, get in here. What are your thoughts?
What's up, brother? How you doing today?
What's up, good brother? What's the word?
Nothing. Just wanted to add to the conversation.
Well, that's why I asked, what's your thoughts, brother? Get to it. We waiting on you.
I can't really speak on a narcissist, but I feel like I can add to the conversation because I'm on the other end, right? The SLD.
Okay.
And earlier in the conversation, we were talking about how SLDs can play a role, and they're more, I think wounded blindness is why we rush into something and then we get stuck, right? And then it's too late at that time. Once we get in there and we're stuck, we put in this time and so much fear of loss that we stay into these relationships. You know what I mean? We can be self-aware, but at the same time feel stuck and fear to let go.
You just said something. You just said something. Fear is the adhesive. Fear is the mortar that hardens and makes you feel stuck. The fear of abandonment. Right?
Right.
So, if you know what that is, part of solving a problem is knowing what it is. So, when was the last time you leaned into your fear around abandonment?
I pretty much do that every day. I'm very self-aware.
Well, what's the result of it if you say you lean the other way? You can't say I'm self-aware and lean codependent. You can say, yes, I know I'm a codependent, but to be self-aware is actually, listen, if we really want to get into this, you are not the self that surrenders to codependency. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Do you see? So it's to me it's a contradiction to say, oh, I'm self-aware. No, you should say I know what my problem is. Not I'm self-aware. Because self-awareness is an extension of self-love, self-acceptance, and ultimately freedom, self-freedom, freedom from the ego, freedom from the center. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So let's say you know what the problem is, right?
Yes, I do.
So what you gonna do about it?
That is the big question mark. You know, I work hard on understanding where it comes from, the intergenerational traumas, things of that sort. Working on, you know, getting into therapy. I had a therapy session today.
Right.
You know, really getting in understanding why my mind is so scattered, why I'm not, what are my values? Why am I staying into this situation? What is causing it? Like, it's just it's day-to-day, you know, I hate to say it, but like a day-to-day struggle. You know, you got to get up every day and just fight to figure out how to be self-aware and love yourself even more. Because like you said, I can say that I'm self-aware, but then that self-love is not reciprocating. So it doesn't really align. So I may feel that I'm self-aware, but I still have work to do. You know what I mean?
Let me just say this, Kenny. This is the realest conversation you've ever had on the Voice of Reason, bro. And I just got to give you love and show love to you, man, for being so open and transparent and honest, man. This was a real discussion, bro. But
for sure.
Let me offer you something. Let me offer you a radical idea real quick, brother.
Sure.
Let me just offer this. Stop looking for reciprocity. Stop looking for payback.
I got you.
That's how you get stuck. Because what you didn't get, you're still looking for from the outside. And really,
100%.
a lot of times you don't realize that. I mean, people don't realize when you're conditioned to look for it from the outside, you never think that it could come from the inside and be even better. Ross Rosenberg's book, The Human Magnet Syndrome. Why do we attract people who hurt us? You have to understand. He said that the key to healing codependency or self-love deficiency is self-love. Stop looking to be paid back. Do you understand, brother?
I do, and it's a day-to-day. It's work.
Take your time, man. Take your time. Let me just say, Kenny, I gotta get these other callers, brother, man. But let me just say, man, I love you, bro. I love you. I appreciate that.
Love you, bro.
Thank you, man. Kenny from Detroit is in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. We got Dallas, Texas, and, of course, Miami, Florida. Hey, when we come forward, we got two heavy hitters. Let's get it.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
To the 100 million people who owe the IRS money, this message is for you. We've helped tens of thousands of people close the door on their tax debt. So if you feel like you're stuck in a hole with IRS tax debt, then this is the easiest way to get a resolution quickly. To qualify for a no-pay or low-pay resolution, just call 687-246-9655 to get free from the IRS once and for all.
To keep your bank accounts, income, and assets secure, tax closure is your same-day cure.
Halloween's coming alive at Target. Jackie and Gordy the Jack-O-Lanterns here with a front porch view of Target's Halloween deals, like 20% off costumes with Target Circle. We're talking rock stars, witches, princesses.
Ooh, I think I'd look good with a cape. I
think so too, Gordy. Plus, hit the trick-or-treat jackpot with 20% off candy.
Now that's how you get porch traffic.
This week only, save 20% on costumes with Target Circle and 20% off candy. Make your Halloween come alive at Target. Restrictions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, wait a minute. Dang, we gotta do it. Let's do
I'm
it
no
now.
longer a prospect. I'm what you call a veteran legend, man. I'm a prophet. You ain't no artist. You what I would call a concept. Made to inspire gossip like
Your parents hurt you when you're a child. Your friends when you're a child or a boy hurt you psychologically. Then in the school they hurt you by saying you must be as clever as your brother or your uncle or your headmaster or whatever. You must, and then college, you pass exams, and if you fail, you're hurt. And if you don't get a job, you're hurt. Everything in the world is put together so that it hurts you. Our education, which is so rotten, hurts you. So, you are hurt. Do you actually realize that you are hurt?
I'm sorry. We should have played that earlier. My God. Hey, Krishnamurti, he don't hold no punches. Every aspect of our lives is hurting us, including us. Yeesh. And we find comfort in that when we date somebody that looks like us, that feels like us, that mirrors our shadow. It's cold work, man. Let me get these callers in here right now. Hustle from Miami, man. We got to move quick. We up against it, brother. Please drop your jewels for me, sir.
So first I wanted to say, just based on the last call, we don't just fear abandonment. We can also fear abandoning.
Ooh, keep going.
Just got to keep that in mind, you understand? Because it's both separation there. But I wanted to get some testimony on the anxious side of the game. So you can relate to this, brother. I mean, when you climbing that mountain, that challenge that we set in front of ourselves, and then you finally get to that peak, that is like the sweetest candy in the world. Now, we know we about to fall off the cliff.
The cliff is
it's
coming.
It's kind of like hitting the jackpot, right? We hit the numbers.
Right.
But the house always wins. You get what I'm saying? The universe, the house, it always wins.
The house always wins. I love that. The universe is Vegas. It's always going to get its money back.
Ain't it the truth?
Yeah, man. Hey, brother, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for always supporting the show, man. You my brother from another mother for life, my friend. You brought Miami, Florida in the building. Now we're going to bounce over to Dallas, Texas. Dallas, get up in here, roguish. Let's talk. You got to keep it quick, though. Let's go.
Let's do it. One hit quitter. When it comes to the trauma or the wounds, as Krishnamurti said earlier, it's the entirety of the environment which would induce such wounds. So perhaps maybe those who are wounded interact with one another in an element to organically attempt to assist with each other's wounds. And what comes from that, or are we supposed to tend to our own wounds and then try to present yourself as your most healed to your potential partner?
All we need to do is not assist. The assisting is automatic. It's spiritual. All we have to do is exist in proximity. I can't heal your wound. She can't heal my wound. But when we come into proximity, right, of each other, and the wounds recognize each other, and the central nervous system starts to relate and mirror. So you know what happens?
Right.
We become aware of certain pains that we may have pushed aside, right? We become aware of certain discomforts. So it's not that I can do something specific to heal your wounds, right? I could be as pleasant, I could be as communicative, as open, as respectful, but if you're not healed, none of that stuff seems right. You might attack me for being that way, right? But the fact that I'm in your presence and my wound is like a polar opposite of your wound, and they irritate each other. The irritation is like the doorbell. The irritation is actually the invitation. It's not the invitation for me to do something different so that you're not irritated. The invitation is for you. The irritation is the invitation for you to say, wow, that is still in me? Whoa, I didn't know I would respond this way in the presence of this type of stimuli. Self-awareness. Does that make sense?
It does.
Hey, man, once again, brother, man. Rogish, I appreciate you for bringing Dallas, Texas in the building. You already know your brother Zoe likes to kick up dust. I'll be back tomorrow with another slapper. Don't be afraid to call in. Non-judgmental conversation. I love you all. But guess what? Another heater is on the way tomorrow. Deuces.
There ain't no middle class. Raise your glass. Here's the classism. Either you were rich or use a bum. There ain't no in between. Sinners sell their souls, angels sell their halos and their wings. I had dreams of an R&B chick. Then I found out that R&B chick already slept with your favorite rapper. Aren't we sick? You start as an artist and turn to alcoholic and quick. Man, I wish I would let a nerd who work it in the scope in a coat by Kenneth Cole consult me about my